All right, here we are. So welcome everybody. I have with me Jordan from NovaCards, our guest speaker for today. He's going to be going over his wonderful app that can save you a lot of time with studying, especially STEP exams that I'm sure everybody loves to study for. And then I have Ahmed from the University of Jordan who requested this session. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and give the floor to Jordan.
All right, everyone. So yeah, as was said, my name is Jordan. I'm a medical student at the University of Virginia in the United States. And yeah, so two co-founders and I have spent the last several months in medical school. So we're in medical school, but we also developed an app called NovaCards. And the idea is to use artificial intelligence to augment the way you study with flashcards. There's lots of ways we can do this, but sort of the highest yield thing that we have done right now is something that I'm going to show you right now. So our app is in the very early stages of development. We've been trying to get the next version of it out for a while now, but as you'll soon find out, clinical year is very, very busy. So it's been hard for us to finish what we're working on. But anyways, let's get to the meat of it. So let's see if I can share my screen here. Okay, this is Anki, as you all probably know. It never goes away also. I thought I was going to get away from it in clerkships, but I'm still doing it all the time. So I have here an example. There's too much going on here. Hold on 1 second. Okay. So there is one issue with Anki. Who here uses pre-made cards on Anki? Anyone want to say what decks they use? What pre-made decks they use?
So you can either type it in the chat and I can read it off to Jordan, or you can unmute yourself, and it would be nice to hear from you guys directly.
Yeah, I'm just curious because there's one that's really popular in the United States, but I want to know if it's the same in other countries as well.
I think there's the Zanking card deck. I haven't started using it yet. I tend to just create my own at the moment.
You said Zonky, is that right?
Yeah, Zanky, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's what I would have expected. So in so there are several decks out there. There are many decks, I should say, but there's one that's the most popular in the United States, and that's called the Anking deck. Okay, the Anking deck has the Zonky deck in it, and it has other decks as well. Okay, so it's an amalgamation of a ton of different flashcards, and it's super helpful because it has everything you need to know about medical school in it. And so theoretically, if you just study the flashcards, you know everything you need to know. You'll do great on your exams. You'll be a good doctor. Here's one problem. Does anyone know how many flashcards are in the Anking deck? I'll just tell you. So for step one, for the first USMLE board exam, there's 30,000 flashcards. So that seems a little overwhelming, right? Like it's really, really hard to know, first of all, to even study 30,000 flashcards. But what's even harder, we think, is knowing exactly which flashcards correspond to the tests you're taking, to what you're studying right now. So the way it worked in my medical school is we would have a lecture and it would be named something like cytokines, or something like diseases of the aorta. So it's like there's many, many different things that can be packaged into a lecture about cytokines or about diseases of the aorta. And sometimes you can find those cards in a flashcard deck easily, but a lot of times you can't. So we created NovaCards because we ended up spending tons of time just looking for the right flashcards in the deck and not actually even studying them. So we created NovaCards to eliminate that process, to show you exactly which flashcards that are already made are relevant to your to the lecture that you're studying. So I'm going to show you how it works. So let's say you're studying something about abdominal aortic aneurysms. So I just searched here for abdominal aortic aneurysms. Let's find some text. So here's some text from the Mayo Clinic about abdominal aortic aneurysms. So let's say you're interested in finding flashcards that are relevant to this text. And so this text can be anything. It can be something from a website. It can be a textbook chapter that was assigned to you by your professor. It can be a PowerPoint. There's lots of different things you can upload to NovaCards, as you'll see. So let's say you find your text that has what you want to learn. Then you go to NovaCards.AI right here. This is our website. So this pops up. If you're interested in kind of seeing like a how-to or FAQ about NovaCards, you can click how it works. But if you just want to use the app, you can click I know what to do. Click here. And so this is like the main home screen of NovaCards. So what you're going to want to do if you want to find flashcards is you copy the text you're interested in learning about. Let's just do that. See what that gives us. Copy it. Paste it into NovaCards right here. You can also choose a file. There's a bunch of different files that are supported, like PDFs, PowerPoints, Word documents. I can't remember all of them, but there's a bunch of file types that are supported. Then you click Find Cards. So now it's using artificial intelligence to look through all of the 30,000 flashcards to find exactly the right ones for you. And sometimes it takes a second. There's a lot of math involved to find out what the best cards are. So it can take a couple of seconds to analyze your document. Okay, and here you go. So here it spit out a bunch of flashcards that are relevant to the text that you're looking for. So normally what you'd have to do is you'd have to read through the document and then go into Anki like this, into the browser section. You could search for aortic aneurysm, and you could just look through the cards manually here. But now what it will do is it will give you the cards right here. So you can read through the results in NovaCards and you can say, what's something that's not, I'm not that interested in cystic medial necrosis. So you can click X and it gets rid of it. Or you can look and you say, okay, ankle brachial index, that's not very relevant to what I want to learn. So you can click X. So you can go through and check which cards you like. And then when you're done, you copy them right here. So you click that button at the top, click OK. And what that does is it gives you a string of text that you can paste into your browser. I don't have the Anki deck in this in my Anki anymore, so it won't show you exactly what it looks like. But then you search for it, and it will pull up all of the cards, all of the 50 cards that it found right here. And then instead of having to look for it individually, you can just either unsuspend those cards or put them into the deck you're looking for. It gives you the exact cards that you need. So this saves, we think. If you're using Anki a lot, it can save you like an hour a day, we think, just this feature right here. Any questions about that so far? There's a couple other things I want to show you, but that's one of the main features for NovaCards.
So we do have a question, Jordan. Does the current version of NovaCards, does it support JPEG images?
Currently it does not, but that is something that we're looking at. What we want to do is to be able to look through the image and read the text in the image. And then search that text, but right now it does not. If you're using Anki, so what I would suggest is you download the Anki app, or the Anki deck, excuse me, and then in the decks section of your Anki app, there's one that says Anki, and so you can search with NovaCards, and then you can only pull the cards that are in the Anki deck, if that makes sense. Shouldn't be too hard to do that. So if you're only using Anki, you don't want to use the other stuff that Anki does. That's one way to do it.
You're saying essentially for our users who listen to this later, and I excuse myself for any background noise. If you hear that, it's just my niece and nephew going crazy downstairs.
Fun.
But I wanted to ask for clarification for those who would be watching this later. You said, Jordan, that you can specify which major deck you want to pull your cards from. They don't have to be Anki.
Yeah, well, it does have to be Anki. Okay, right now we're adding more decks too, but that's going to be in the new release of NovaCards. Right now we only support the Anki deck, the different versions of the Anki deck. I can show you that actually. That might be a good thing to show you. So if you want to change the different decks you're looking for, or you're looking through, you go to here, this chat, and you go into this hamburger menu in the upper left-hand corner. This is like your advanced options. Right now, the only different decks are the different versions of Anki. So you can have version 9, 10, or 11. Currently on our development server, and what will hopefully be released soon, is we're supporting, there's a step 3 deck, there's an MCAT deck, and there's a deck for PA schools as well. And we
Mhm.
can add other ones too. Like maybe if it's just easier for people to use Zonky, maybe we can add that in the future if that's a feature you all really interested in.
Mhm.
But right now, the way I would do it is I'll have to figure out exactly how to do it because I don't have Anking on here right now. But you should be able to pull up the cards and then only pull the ones that are in Zonky if you look at the decks.
Mhm.
Actually, what I would do is I would click the deck you want. So let's say the deck I want is MS3. And then you can search in MS3, you can search for your cards, and that should pull up only the ones that are relevant. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. All right, great. We have another question. The question is, how do I download Anki version 11? If you have the link,
Let's
please
see.
share.
The easiest way should be just to Google it. Yeah, so I'll just drop this. This should have the link on it.
Okay, wonderful. And I think I downloaded mine from a similar post. It looks like
Yeah.
a lot. You just have to go through and find the right link.
Yeah, for some reason they put a million different links on there.
Yeah.
I'll just put it in the chat though. Boop, boop,
Great.
boop.
Thank you so much.
On the chat. Yeah, no worries. Okay, so here's why this is especially relevant for you all as the international medical graduates. So I know for us, even in the United States, a lot of times they teach us stuff in medical school. It's a PhD professor. He's not, he or she is not a doctor. They have some research interests they're really excited about. So they end up teaching us a ton of stuff about things that aren't even on our board exams. And I know that was my experience a lot, and it's probably the experience for you. I'm assuming that's probably even more the case that you learn things in other countries that aren't on the US board exams. So maybe in Jordan, they're very interested in teaching you about Leash-Nihan syndrome, which we talk about a little bit in the United States, but isn't that important. So maybe there's a ton of stuff they want you to know about that, but in reality, if you want to take US boards, you don't have to know that much about it. So it's really beneficial if you go into NovaCards and search and find what's relevant on Anking. Anking is going to give you exactly what you need for your boards, no more, no less. So it will only pull the things that are relevant, and then you can maybe spend less time studying the stuff that's very specific to your school. So it helps you know exactly what you need to know for the US boards and what things you maybe don't need to know as well for your US board exams. Here's another feature that I want to show you. So this is the cards section. This will pull the individual flashcards, which is really helpful for studying. Another thing that I like to do a lot personally, actually, is instead of cards, you can go to tags. And so tags will show you the individual resources that are out there that are highly relevant to the text that you inputted. So right now, the only tag that's pulling up is this Costanzo chapter. Costanzo is a really popular textbook in the United States. But another thing that might pull up more frequently is like Boards and Beyond videos. They have these in the tags as well, or sketchy videos, or chapters in first aid. So do you guys know what first aid is? Do you use first aid? Yeah. Okay,
Oh
great.
yeah, we well, all graduates who want to take USMLE have it down.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, now that I think about it, that makes complete sense because you're studying for the same test that we're studying for. So this will show you if you like Sketchy, which I use Sketchy a lot in pre-clerkships, or other resources. This will show you what resources are relevant to your lecture. So you don't have to spend time like thinking like I don't even know like what sketchy videos I should be watching for this. This will show you if you go to the tag section which ones are really relevant. Okay. Any questions about that so far? If not, I'll give you a little preview. I don't know. I'm gonna pull up my development server. I'm gonna show you.
So
I'm gonna
while we're doing that, I did have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
You're a third-year medical student. I'm assuming you're going to start studying for step 2 very soon, and you're taking your shelf exams.
Doing it already. Doing it right now.
There we go. So how are you using your own app to study for step 2?
So I've actually used it less for step 2 than I did for step 1. What one of my co-founders, Shane, who's not on the call today, uses it a lot. And so what he does is he searches through. So like you guys use UWorld.
Mm-hmm.
So let me find. I guess Amboss works
Almost the
too.
resources are First Aid, Sketchy, World, Boards and Beyond. The same.
Yeah. So let's
Amboss.
let's go. QBank session history. How about that? Okay. So here's some studying I did today. And let's find a question I got wrong. Okay, so here's a question I got wrong about, oh, this is hip dysplasia, okay? So what you can do is you can copy the text that explains your wrong answer. This is what my co-founder Shane does. And then you can go to NovaCards. Let's just leave this the same. Find your cards. Let that think for a second. And what I should have done actually is he limits the number of cards so that you can put in here the number of cards you want back. So he limits it to like 5. And so if each time he gets a question wrong, he just takes like the top 5 most relevant cards and puts them into his deck. And so eventually, like if you miss several questions on hip dysplasia, like it's going to repeat the cards, and so some of them will just stay in. But that's a really good way to like find exactly what's relevant to your step exam.
So you're basically taking it wrong and you are putting together cards for your wrong. So
Yes, exactly right. Yeah. And you can do that for step 1 as well. Like let's say you like making your own cards, but you want to supplement if you get something wrong. You could even just say, I want to take the top 2 cards for every question I got wrong, and do exactly that strategy. And then they'll just supplement with like the most relevant on king cards,
okay.
which could be helpful. So there's lots of different ways you can use this app. Let me
Yeah.
show you. Let me show you what we're working on right now.
Well, I'm gonna ask you to have the step 3 deck ready because I need to take that by next year.
Yeah, so it's so frustrating because it's literally on this server that I'm about to show you. It works. I'll show you it working, but the problem is, I think personally, this is giving you a bit too much of a glance behind the curtain, maybe, but I think we should just release it. But my co-founders are very perfectionistic; they want it to be perfect. We just don't have that much time to work on it right now,
Well, I wonder
unfortunately,
what you're doing with all your free time.
dude.
I
It's so hard. I mean, you guys all know that, like, and
Yeah,
especially with.
I did all my rotations in Chicago and all my shelf exams. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's so hard. Okay, let's wait for this to pull up. So this is giving you a glance into the future, which will hopefully be working in the near future. So let it pull up here. Okay, so this is NovaCards 2.0. Looks very similar, but you can change the deck. So here's all these different decks. Here's your step 3 deck, your MCAT deck, your deck if you want to study for PA school. Let's search the same thing we did before. And you notice it says when you click the button, it says find and make cards. It finds cards and makes cards. So let think for a second. So now at the top, we have cards found. So here's the cards that you found. Here's the tags, just like last time. But now we have a new tab, which is card maker. And so what it does is this lets you go through every single sentence in the text that you inputted and you can click on it and it shows you exactly which cards are relevant to that sentence. Some sentences are going to have no cards that are relevant to them. So maybe that's something that your PhD professor wants you to learn, or it's just something that's not covered in Anki very well. And so what it will do, this isn't good text as an example because there was relevant cards for each and every one of these sentences, but at the bottom, it makes flashcards for you. And so you can download these extra flashcards. And so theoretically, your entire document is covered by either by Anki cards or by the cards that you make yourself in the app, or I should say the app makes for you. So this way you never have to make your own flashcards if you don't want to, or if you do want to, you can use this app and it goes way faster because it puts them into boxes and you don't have to individually make them. Like you can just kind of make them all at the same time, and then you can download it and put it into Anki yourself. So that's kind of the new thing that's coming out. part of this will be paid, part of this will be free. We're trying to figure that out. Because right now we're losing money every month on this because it costs quite a bit of money to run the servers. We need some way to like not be losing money on this. So, but that's some cool features. The new decks will be totally free for everyone to use. So.
Wow, that's very neat. And I'm sure this takes up a lot of your time.
Yeah, we really like doing it. I just wish there was more than 24 hours in the day. So it'll come. It's just moving slower than we want it to.
That's all right. Maybe in the future, maybe AI can help us get more than 24 hours a day.
Yeah, that'd be nice. You invent that, you won't have to be a doctor. You can do other stuff.
Right. So with that, do we have any questions for this wonderful presentation that Jordan gave to us? So from my understanding, from somebody who does not know much about your app, it seems very simple. You go in, whatever you need, you pull those cards out, and then you add them to the deck that you're studying.
Yeah, exactly. So if you are interested in keeping in touch with us or just using the app, you can go to NovaCards.AI is the address. I'll type it in here. Cards.ai.
And I'll also share that when we do your post on Instagram for today's account.
Yes, that was the next thing I was going to say is you can go to our Instagram as well. So we'll let you know about stuff that's happening here, and then it has a link to the website as well. We also have a Twitter. Let's see if I can find Twitter. So I think it's NovaCards.ai on Instagram, but it's NovaCards.AI is our Twitter handle, if you can see that. So there's a period in the Instagram one, but there isn't one in the Twitter one. But yeah, we'll let you know about updates here, and then you can also find links to the app itself on our social media. And yeah, so hopefully we'll have this new upgraded version out soon. And then really, so a lot of people come to us and say, oh, how can I love this so much. This saves me so much time. How can I help you guys? Here's how you can help us. You can tell your friends because it helps to get the word out, but also let us know what features you want, because we're always looking to make it better. Let us know if there's something you don't like about it, or something you wish you had more of, or anything that we can do to improve it, because we're building it based on the way we like it, but really it's for you guys. Like it's for everyone else. So you can send us a message on Instagram or tweet at us or something, and we can talk about it, and hopefully we can build something that's useful for a lot of people. That's the idea.
Absolutely. This can be extremely useful. Now that I didn't use any of this for my step 1, step 2, I'm thinking, I wish I had this. It's very helpful.
Yeah. We built it for ourselves because it was driving us crazy to look for flashcards. So
yeah, no, I can imagine. We'll give it a moment to see if any other last minute questions pop up. While that's being done, typically how many hours a day are you studying for your shelf exams or for step 2?
That's a great question. So what I've been doing recently is I do lots of practice questions. So I do UWorld or Amboss, and I do probably about 2 hours of practice questions, and then I review my Anki cards, which is probably another hour or 2, so 3 to 4 hours, which is like a lot, but it's not that bad, right? Like you can find time for that. So
I think after a while you're just habituated. Yeah. So it doesn't seem so bad.
I was just thinking today, like, what's it going to be like when like I have a spare 10 minutes and I can just sit there and do whatever I want instead of studying every single moment of the day. You know what I mean?
You'll miss it. This is how I used to think. And now that I have a little bit of free time, I miss it. So maybe it's just human nature. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe that's interesting.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Jordan. And thank you for walking us through this one more time. I know you've done wonderful presentations for us before.
Yeah. Again, please let us know if there's anything you can think of, and hopefully this is useful for you in some ways.
It is, absolutely. I get requests for this all the time. So we will go ahead and upload this, and then we will give you a shout out on Instagram. If anybody has any questions or anything, they know where to go.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I hope you get to enjoy your weekend.
And also good luck, everyone. You guys can do it. I believe in you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody else, for joining. We'll see you at another session.
Bye.
Bye-bye.